KSJE, Farmington, New Mexico, 90.9 FM. And now 103.3 FM, K277CR, Durango, Colorado.
As always, is Chief Steve Heavy.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Looking kind of fashionable in your little hoodie.
I know, in my gold line hoodie. Yeah. I was working at dispatch this morning, and then I had to hustle over here and
very good.
Doing that double duty.
Life of a PIO is not easy.
Sometimes it's hectic, but this is my thin gold line, San Juan County Communications.
I actually did not know that was the color for the dispatchers.
And I really dig it because, when the blue line stuff started really becoming popular, and then fire is, of course, the red line, and I thought it was really cool that they talk about dispatch as the thin gold line that is between, that holds it all together, the golden glue.
Very good. Golden glue.
I always think that's super cool.
See, I like doing these shows. Once every 2 weeks, I start learning something a little different. I didn't know it was the golden glue.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was so catchy and all of that. But
I have a really cool mug that I bought when I was working at dispatch, and it has the EMS symbol, a badge for PD, a badge for fire, and it says, and then it has the gold line kind of through them all, and it says, "No one fights alone," and I thought that was cool because dispatch is always there. Always.
Somewhat, well, that was definitely my view of them when I was just an officer, but in any event, we were over at dispatch last night, as a matter of fact.
We were.
Not in the creepy sense that this seemed to take a turn towards, but we were actually giving some recognition to one of the dispatchers who was working the main channel when Officer Beretta was shot. And Joe was with us, and his wife and his kid. They got a chance to meet the dispatcher that was working the radio the night that happened. And those are, I'm hearing it from the other side of the radio, and then as a supervisor. But those are traumatic events for dispatchers. It can go from pretty quiet, and it's just the officers were out looking for a DWI suspect. Maybe that's going to end in a foot chase or something because the suspects had already fled the car. So this could go a little different, but you're really never ready for that kind of a call that the officer's been shot. And I thought she did just a great job, and I was really pleased to meet her and to give her some recognition last night.
Yeah, and I've worked with Carissa my entire career at dispatch, and she's a fantastic dispatcher. So I was pleased when I turned on the radio and I heard her voice. I thought, oh man, that's good that we've got her on the radio. And then last night it was really so rewarding to see her and Bretto, talking about that night and how they both felt about what happened. And he thanked her and said, you staying calm helped me stay calm. And then, I thought it was great that his wife and son came, and oh my gosh, his son is so cute.
Yeah, his son is very cute.
Oh my gosh.
No, the life of a dispatcher is difficult. We had one when I was an officer. I used to like foot chases, pretty good. They were kind of yippee-ki-yay and lots of adrenaline, and you're chasing the bad guy. And I was running traffic, just running radar, tried to catch up to a vehicle that had sped past me, and he attempted to elude. Tries to go around a corner at a pretty high rate of speed, loses control, smashes into a fence, hops out of the car before I've even pulled up, and takes off running. So I haven't said anything to dispatch yet because I was trying to catch up to make the traffic stop.
You were one of those.
So I bail out of my car, and the main channel dispatcher was one of our officers' wives, and she was like 8 weeks, or 8 months, 3 weeks, and 6 days pregnant.
Oh, goodness.
So she was, but she's still in there, man in the main channel. And so it's kind of a quiet night. It's Graves, and not much is going on. And all of a sudden I come on, and I'm screaming, and I'm in foot chase, and we're heading blah, blah, blah. And she forever said that I induced the beginning of her labor. So I wasn't always Johnny Popular, but
yeah.
a tough tough job to sit there totally quiet in a room, having no idea really what's going on, and then just having people dive on the radio, and sometimes in life and death, like it was for Barretto, life and death circumstances.
No, absolutely.
And we need dispatchers.
We do. Dispatch is hiring. And like I've said before, it is an excellent career. I really enjoyed my time there, and so much so that they're shorthanded and I'm helping them out. So it is a good place to work. We have a really good center, high tech, and really worthwhile work. So if you're interested.
And like you said, you're kind of the thin gold line between police and fire and the public, and you're helping deliver emergency services in critical times. People's lives are on the line, and you have a chance to play an important role in our community. So, we do need good dispatchers as well as officers. But if you're somebody that's not quite up for wearing the blue, then I think you should give dispatch a call, and let's find out if maybe you'd enjoy a career behind the radio helping law enforcement and fire.
Absolutely, I agree.
We've had a busy few weeks since our last show. I guess on the local circuit we're deep into the basketball season. As you know, I do some reffing, and we're in district tournament time right now. Farmington School has been pretty good, although I think they just lost the other night, which was a bit of a surprise and disappointing. But there's some good teams right in the area. Bloomfield, I think boys and girls both are pretty competitive. Kirtland's boys and girls teams are competitive. Farmington's, I think girls are still some of the better ones. So, if you like high school basketball, there's a lot going on. I know I saw Scott was out at one of the games. Scott 2, I guess we call him.
Yeah, there's two Scotts.
Yeah,
I don't know if
Scott
everyone
Square.
knows that.
I'm not sure.
Two.
Yes, there's the voice, the man, and then his able henchman who's learning to hatchet the cop shop just like his mentor does. So is that unfair?
All right. No, they're both amazing professionals.
Yes, they're amazing professionals, and that's why I have Nicole as a PIO. She spins stuff perfectly.
But I also want to segue now into congratulations, Citizen of the Year. Farmington Chamber of Commerce's Citizen of the Year is Chief Hebby.
Thank you. Yes, that was a surprise, and it appeared quite a few people had a hand in it. So I appreciate that. And Farmington's been a great place to Janet and I both in my 8 years here, and just honestly to join the ranks of such distinguished previous award recipients as Scott Michlin is, it's just unbelievable. Scott, did you ever give a speech on that? Maybe you could weigh in now on what it meant to you.
I gave a short speech. Now we're going to do this.
Yeah,
We're gonna do this.
Yeah. Because now you're not working.
Well,
now you're the man.
I know I'm not hatcheting the show, so I have time to.
So might as well dive on and
chime
actually
in
hatchet the show
as a guest, apparently.
Yeah,
so,
I'm just
but
saying.
yeah, I was honored a couple years ago, and it is a surprise. They really try to keep it a surprise.
They
So
do.
I'm glad that they kept it from you.
They definitely
And
do.
you were, honestly surprised by the award.
I was.
I think it's nice for the community to be able to say, thank you and recognize the Citizen of the Year for all their contributions to the community, of which I think you have plenty. I have maybe a little bit more, but you have plenty, Chief. And so it's great to see you recognized.
I
Congratulations.
That's amazing.
Yeah, maybe I was, Citizen of the Month compared to his Citizen of the Year.
No, it's well deserved, and congratulations,
Well, thank
Chief.
you.
We really
Were
need
they
that.
able to surprise you, Scott? Or did
They
you see it
were,
coming?
and they actually got my sister to get here from Phoenix to surprise me
Wow.
when they did it at the banquet. That was how.
Okay.
During in the other times,
Previous days.
we used to gather
Pre-COVID.
and celebrate these
Yeah,
things, right?
imagine
With
that.
a dinner and a banquet, and so a lot of my friends had snuck in, and my sister had snuck in from Arizona, which was nice.
Well, very good. Well, I think they're planning on giving me like a bag of Cheetos. It's
probably.
not quite the COVID banquet.
I'd say box of donuts, but that's just me.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
bag of
there's the hatchet.
See? Oh, I see.
And
Well,
now
I had
there's
to go
the
there.
cut sign,
I had
and
to
there we are.
Oh,
That
jeez.
concludes my guest appearance.
Yes.
the cop shop, everyone.
And next
Thank
week
you.
we'll be on Crown Radio, ladies and gentlemen. KRWN.
Ouch. But thank you, Chief.
Oh.
Well deserved.
So I guess for those that don't know, we surprised Chief as he was reffing a basketball game.
I was.
So all the redcoats with the Chamber of Commerce, and then several of Farmington officers, lieutenants, and the deputy chief, we all, and myself, we all kind of snuck in, and we're hoping that he didn't see us as he was roughing his game. And then the game was over, and we all go out onto the court. And then what happened?
Well, so I was reffing both the C and JV games. So in between the two games, then we retreat back into the referee's room. It was the same partner I was going to be working with in the next game. And our head guy for all officials in Northwest New Mexico comes in and he says, "Hey, I never do this, but there's a problem with the book. We need you to come back out." Walter Dorman, who does a lot of radio for high school sports in our area, and he was there. I believe he's there to do the radio for the varsity game, but he's also evaluating what we're doing. And so when he comes in, I don't think anything of it. And of course, everybody's got a boss, including the chief. So I head back out and I get on the court. I actually see a couple of my officers there in uniforms, but it was like senior night, so they were doing some things, recognizing their parents and stuff like that. So I don't know really what I was thinking, but I ran past the whole group right to the table, said, "What's the matter?" And they looked at me like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, Walter said there's a problem with the books." And they're just looking at me, and Walter starts laughing, and then Jamie starts talking, and I turn around, and then for the first time I actually see.
It was so funny because there was a huge group. I mean, it was a huge group of us. We filled the entire, FHS sideline, where all of the players sit. We filled it, and he ran past all of us. And so I thought, what is... So he runs past us, and everyone's like, "Chief," and he just goes straight to the table. And I was like, wow, he's really going to ignore us until we make him acknowledge us. I thought you were just like, "Nope, I'm not doing this.
No.
I'm not doing it."
So I may not be the best ref, but I take it serious, and so I totally focused on I'm going to get to that book because we had the next game coming, and I knew that. And so, and this isn't very typical that you'd come out with a problem with a book. But the last shot by Laqueta, I think it was, it had been a 3-point shot. It had hit the rim and then bounced up and just kind of rolls in right at the buzzer. And so I thought, well, maybe they didn't know what I ruled on it, if I counted the three or not. And so I was just trying to do my little job, and then so that really made the surprise. Not even just walk in the room and see everybody surprised, but run right past them all and stand there and try and keep doing your job. And then, of course, I'm sweating profusely from the first game, so it wasn't my finest hour, but it was quite a surprise.
Yeah, we were very pleased that we were able to surprise you, so that's
Yes.
good.
And you had your little video going.
I did. I took a video. It's kind of long, so I haven't put it up on social media.
Oh, good.
But
No, that's enough.
no, I felt like Jamie Church, of course, said some really great things about how, you do a lot for the community, and you took a pie in the face for her when she was at Child Haven, and
Yes.
you spoke at the women's conference even though you're a man, and you are, and of course then you were roughing the game, which you've been doing that for a few years, and
Yeah.
so and then of course the mayor spoke and the city manager, and they had kind things to say, and then of course last but definitely not least, Mrs. Hemme spoke, and
Yes.
she had great things to say. And
So Janet puts in a lot behind the scenes. As you know, I'm actually somewhat driven about policing and the police department.
you care a lot.
and she knows it too, and so a lot of the time she winds up suffering for when I'm agonizing over something. And really over the last couple of years, they've been tougher years for policing, and so to be the chief during those times, you feel the stress of trying to keep us positioned where people want us to be and keep our officers out of trouble, and Janet has to live with all that stress. So it was humbling, but I appreciate it. So let's move on to any other topic.
Well, we're having an event that I'm kind of excited to talk about. We're doing a women in law enforcement recruiting event. So several of our female officers are going to be at the event, and they're going to kind of just display the different things that, different specialties and stuff that our women are currently working in, and then some of the potential specialties. So that event is going to be March 3rd. Is that right? March 3rd?
That sounds about right.
I can't remember, 2nd or 3rd. It's the 3rd. And from 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Farmington Museum, the Gateway Museum, and we're super excited about it. I think it's a really worthwhile event that we're holding, and I think a couple other, I think dispatch, or we've asked dispatch if they want to go. I haven't heard what the final say is, but and I think maybe the detention center. We've invited a couple other law enforcement adjacent agencies, because maybe you don't necessarily want to be a cop, but you have that desire to serve your community. So I put together a little video. The recruiting video that Zia Media did for us a while back, I went through and kind of edited out all the amazing footage they got of some of our female officers throughout the video. And shout out to Zia Media, because man, did they do a great job.
They did a great job. Yep.
Me pulling out the clips of the women, it went together so seamlessly, because they did such a great job of understanding the message that we wanted to convey and really, really getting it. So I think, Scott, are you ready, Scott? We've got the video. We're going to play it and check it out. So there was some other audio with our video, but that was a little technical difficulty.
It's a complex operation. We do assign you apparently your own crow that kind of follows you and caws during the course of your shift. But other than that, it really is a job that women can do. And FPD, we have really been pushing for that over the last few years. We've had, a women's conference that we've hosted here pre-COVID, and we'll be getting back into that next fall. And it is a job that if you've ever thought about doing it, now is the time to come check us out. We're looking for good men and women, but in particular, we're looking for women who I think in previous years didn't view law enforcement as a legitimate profession that women would get into. And I think when you meet and talk with some of our officers, you come away with a completely different perspective on what they're doing and how they see their job.
Yeah, definitely. I think that we have some amazing women that work for FPD, and they do really cool stuff. I mean, we have female canine handlers. We have they're on the bomb squad. They're on the SWAT team. They're doing all the things that you would want to do and more. There's so many options at FPD, so many specialties that, and we're such a young department that you can really start varying yourself pretty early in your career. And there's just a lot. The real-time crime center has really become a big component of what we do, and we're always expanding. We're always looking forward to the future, and I think that it would be a great time to jump in on all of that.
So at least consider coming out and talking with some of the officers. It's the least you can do when you're considering your options. Is give yourself the most information possible. So we're nearing the end of the show. We got less than 4 minutes. Let's talk briefly about international affairs, because I think internationally you see some of the same things that we've seen locally, and that's the Russian invasion of Ukraine right now. Which is something, over the last several days, over the last few weeks we could see this coming, and then over the last several days, it was really getting close, and I think 2 days ago they launched their invasion.
Yeah.
Or was it even just yesterday? So that is not going well for people that want bullies to lose. That is not going so well. But what it is a little window into what we've seen here in our country with the defund the police movement. And that's when there really is nobody standing there. The bad guys really will take over. So we have gangs here. We have bad people. That our homicide rates have jumped in many of the cities where police have pulled out or have been reduced. And the same thing's true internationally. So there really is no world policeman. There really is nobody to say, no, you can't do that. And so, whether it's China with some of the adventures they've had or Russia, they just launched an invasion. Not much you can do about it. We'll throw some sanctions on it. We'll watch a lot of people die is what we will. And that's, to me, such an emblem of what we do here within the country, and it's easy to take it for granted. When there is a strong police presence, there's less crime. And when you start getting more comfortable that, hey, you know what, maybe we don't need as many police, things are pretty safe, then you start pulling the police out, and we've seen what happened. And really the same thing, to me, is true on the international stage. With nobody to stop a bully, somebody like Putin, who was prior KGB, who openly says and I'm not sure why we don't listen to bad guys when they say what they're going to do.
Yeah, when they lay out their evil plans.
So I think Hitler did it in a book, but nobody really believed it, and then it looked like it came to pass. I don't think he was kidding. And the same thing's true with Putin. Putin, talks about the collapse of the Soviet Union as one of the most strategic disasters of the 20th century. He longs for those days, and taking over a major country like Ukraine looks to be step one in his effort to rebuild it. I know our friends in Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, every one of those countries is panicked over what's going to happen and whether anybody will stand up for them. Poland's certainly been through this a few times. That's how World War II started, was Germany and Russia making a pact to divide up Poland. So these are dark days, and it's funny because we seem to relive it, right? I mean, and I think the Poles and the Latvians and Estonians, Lithuanians are feeling like it's Groundhog Day, and not in a good way, not in a funny Bill Murray way. Just the Russians are at their doorstep again. They're knocking out a major country like Ukraine with nobody intervening, and I really do equate that. I know I hear it. America isn't the world's policeman. And I agree, and I don't want American troops going and dying all over the world. But what it should highlight, though, is when there is no policeman, things don't go so well, especially if you're one of the weaker countries or you're one of the weaker people. That's why you see elderly and women alone on the street, and they become wonderful targets if there's nobody around that the bad guys believe are going to stop them.
Well, and I just think it's a really great point to make in general for the average American citizen that we really should be paying attention to our world presence as a country, because this kind of stuff affects everything about our daily lives. And it's been so long since our country's had to deal with that to really understand the ramifications of what the U.S.'s presence is on the world stage. So I hope that we don't have to in my lifetime, but it looks like we might.
Well, it definitely is closer today than it was, but again, when you pull the United States out of the world picture, it's a little like defunding the police, right?
Yeah.
And so we hope to have better news for you in 2 weeks on that front, but I thought that it was worthwhile to talk about. Scott, do we have a half hour we can extend on this and we can talk more, Joe? Maybe not. Well, all right. We've been cut short. See you next time on Crown Radio. Until then, though, thank you, and
That headline at the top of the February 18 edition of the Downlink. The Planetary Society